Hello everyone, how are you all keeping? Today I'm gonna make a fundamentals video. So usually I'm focusing more on technical analysis, but I was actually inspired by this guy that runs Coin Mastery, and he's doing a lot of fundamental videos as well. And actually, I'm starting to understand more and more that fundamentals are important as well. Looking at the charts is exciting and interesting, and but I went out of my comfort zone a little bit because it's easy for me to look at charts, but to do the work and do the research. So for the last 3 days, I was focusing more on just reading about what's going on in crypto world. Just look through some important news and just did different analysis than usual. So I did kind of like fundamental analysis. And of course, it's different to do fundamental analysis for like stocks or for cryptocurrency, as in cryptocurrency there is no company or there's nothing to look at when it comes to like price earnings and all those things. So yeah, but there are still different things we can look at. And now I tried to be as creative as I could, and yeah, so by no particular order, I'm gonna cover quite a lot of content today. As you see all these bookmarks, I'm gonna go through this. So by no particular order of importance, I'll just go through one by one. Okay, so first, I went to this Google Trends, right, where you can actually look how many searches were done in Google, for instance, for Bitcoin, and you can actually see how as the price, the peak was on week 17 to 23rd of December. This is when there was the most interest in Bitcoin, and as we all know, this was actually the week that we reached the all-time high, and it actually proves the point that the mass psychology is usually wrong, right? When everybody's thrilled and interested in like, oh my god, this is going to the moon, you can see these Google searches going up. This is the time when you actually should not be buying. You should just do the opposite. And I've heard this saying so many times, like reading through books, investment tips, or whatever, that you have to do the opposite that the masses are doing. And now when I see it like in this really example, it really shows it's how the masses are wrong. If that makes sense. Look, so yeah, the interest was just going up when the prices were highest, when you should actually not be buying, you should be selling basically. And now that the interest is low, or probably people are not buying, and now is the time to. Okay, we'll go into that. Is now the time to buy, but definitely it's better to buy when the interest is lower, because the prices are lower, right? So yeah, just an interesting analysis there, and I also threw some other currencies there and some other terms. So I'll take out Bitcoin just because it's the interest is so higher than everything else that it kind of destroys this chart. So okay, why is this not? Okay, this should go away. Okay, why is this not going away? Let's see. I don't know. I just put Ripple here again. I already have Ripple there, but just to get rid of Bitcoin there. Yeah, so on the same like Ripple and Ethereum. So Ethereum is the. Okay, let's first go through Ripple, right? Ripple is now the red one. Okay, so also it spiked actually a week later, and we all know how Ripple also spiked. It went all through over $3. Yeah, so we can see that interest in Google searches are actually coincide with that. But yeah, interesting enough, like it's since last week the interest in Ripple is increasing, and probably this is due to the CEO of Ripple was on CNBC, and just some news exposure, big media, a little bit of pump there, and interest, and everybody also thought that, not everybody, but the crypto community thought that Ripple is going to Coinbase, because Coinbase CEO and Ripple CEO, or directors, I don't know, but the main guys there there was an announcement that they were on CNBC on the same day, and everybody thought, oh, they're going on Ripple is coming to Coinbase. So there was a pump and dump scenario because there was false news. But anyhow, you can see that Ripple interest grew a little bit, but I don't see this in this. I think this is just because of those news. And Ethereum, yeah, the interest is going down. I don't know why it spiked here, 13 January. Oh, well, let's check. 13 January. Yeah, okay, the price doesn't, okay, yeah, actually Ethereum peaked later, yeah, interesting enough, and you see the Google searches also coincide with that. So in Coinbase, this is the green one, how the interest is going down. And actually, yeah, well, I also have another, and I was talking this, but in Slovenian video. Yeah, so I'll move this here. Actually, this is the interest in Coinbase, right? In the last 3 months, you can search this on this internet site. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I won't even try, but here you go. So last 3 months, how the Coinbase, and of course there are other exchanges out there as well, but Coinbase is the one that it's kind of like the easiest for new people to come in, because for instance Bitfinex, interest in Bitfinex is rising, or the scores are rising, but since around New Year you need 10K to go on Bitfinex, so it's more for bigger investors and traders and experienced. So I haven't checked this for a few days. Actually, I checked this a few days ago. Yeah, but so let's go through this together. Yeah, so you see that Bitfinex, interest in Bitfinex is increasing a little bit, and also Bitfinex had a nice update just yesterday. They updated their platform, which is really good, and they also had a different news. A bit later, like a few weeks ago, that they're gonna go and do decentralized exchange and so forth. So yeah, Bitfinex is definitely doing something. They're focusing. They have definitely focused their. They have changed their focus to more like bigger traders and investors, which is actually good. They want to be specific. Which is good, I think. For me as a Bitfinex user, I like the fact that they have less users, but they focus more energy to them, right? Okay, so we have this, we have that. So that's one thing. So why is this important, right? Because what needs to happen for Bitcoin, for prices to pick up, right? What needs to happen, we need to get new money coming in, right? And this is just the fact, because we need new money to come in, because if you see that, for instance, Coinbase didn't have any much new users, so to speak, lately, we can assume that this kind of like run that seemed like a bull run was actually the users that were already there. They were just buying back. But we need new money to come in for this to really to go into a bull run. And another thing that I was just there's not in the news or whatever, I was just thinking about it, is let's say that you have never invested yet in Bitcoin, but you were thinking about it and you were following the news, and you had your reservation, but you were like, okay, I'm gonna invest at one point, and now you, for this two months, you've been just hearing like, oh, Bitcoin is down, 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 down. I mean, as a new investor, would you already jump in? Like, would you jump in now, or what would you do? And I think it's pretty obvious that people will, the masses will not jump in at this very moment. We need time and we need to resolve other things, which I'll go into a bit later. But just this idea, I was thinking a lot about this. But if we compare it back to 2013, when the interest goes down, you need time for people to gain. This was the last kind of like bubble. You need people to gain back that confidence, and for new people to come in. They need that confidence that this is just falling. People want to hear, okay, Bitcoin is making new highs, or Bitcoin is making, is going up, is making 5%, is making 10%. People want that. They won't jump in now, right? And this is different to, okay, this is logarithmic scale, so it doesn't look that dramatic. On this one, it looks more dramatic. Yeah, well, this is important thing to notice, because I'm like looking at other traders. No offense, but I think a lot of people are just looking for when this will bounce. But I think this is like, we're in a different scenario now. This is a different ball game. I don't expect this to just bounce and just go up, because this is not a normal correction. Okay, when you have a correction, when it goes down like 30% or so, you can expect a bounce that is quite aggressive, because the trust was not lost. But now the trust, when you go into a bubble, the trust is lost. The trust is not there anymore. You don't, new people, new money is not coming in. So even if you start going, like, even if the downtrend kind of ends, I don't expect this to just bounce off. I expect this to go sideways for a long, long time, because this needs time. It's like, gaining trust back. If somebody, wherever you lose trust, you need time to you need some good reasons why you trust. And, yeah, trust comes with good reasons why you would go in, right? These are just bounty hunters, basically, and now just, making money, looking for these, ups and downs. But yeah, we need new money, that's for sure. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And then yeah, just go through all this news, so that's just another thing I was reading about on Bloomberg. So there's a Boston-based firm that has 1 trillion under their management, and they're thinking about, including cryptocurrencies, but they're actually being really smart. They think still that you can read this, it's a really good article, but what actually they're doing, they're not investing directly in cryptocurrency. They're actually investing in companies that are connected to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technology, such as NVIDIA, right? And because NVIDIA is making graphic cards for Bitcoin mining, right? And you also have 2 others that are making chips for those cards. So you can actually see how NVIDIA price surged right from just amazing. It has an amazing run, like, because there's such a high demand. So as you see, like, the big players are interested, and this is what we either need new small players to come in, which will show in Google searches, right? We need small players to come in, like a lot of, big time adoption to gain trust, or we need like big companies to come in and start investing in. But they're still cautious. Okay, they're still cautious. They're still not pumping money in. They are considering. They were doing their research, and I mean, Goldman Sachs, they're researching that, and all these bigger, like, huge companies, right? Investment companies. So, but for instance, these guys are playing it smart. They're looking for more secure, some more like stocks that are connected to them. So this shows us that we're going in the right direction, but it's gonna take time, right? So this was just a nice, interesting thing to point out. And yeah, when we're talking about big players coming in, what we need for big players to come in is regulation, right? Because now it's not yet clear what cryptocurrencies is, right? So you have different regulation bodies. I have an article about that. Okay, this is my Gox. This is nothing to do. Yeah, so SEC has posted on 7th of March that a lot of exchanges are not regulated. So this is a Securities Exchange Commission wants to regulate exchanges which are not backed by, they're not adhering to the laws as like normal brokers and exchanges are. So the name exchange can be misleading because you go on, Bitfinex, I don't know, all of those like Bitstamp, you name it, Lifecoin, Hit BTC, whatever. They're not regulated yet, and we need actually regulations. On one hand, now there's a lot of talk about regulation and who there is SEC wants to regulate. Then there's another one, the one that is commodities regulation. They're saying that cryptocurrencies are commodities and they want to regulate, and this is not clear yet, right? And for the shorter time frame, that means that there's still uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, I don't expect a bull run, to come. But long term, it's good to have regulators because that will invite the big players in. They'll be more trusted in this. So, but we're still working on this, right? It takes time for all that. So, to gain trust for the bigger investors, we need this. And so that's an interesting thing to point out. Another thing, yeah, so Coinbase, this was announced, what was it? 6th of March. They actually made an index, and for those who don't know what index is, it's just cluster of more currencies, cryptocurrencies. So let's say you want to buy Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ripple. Okay, they don't have Ripple, so Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash, and just want to spread this. If you're lazy, you can just buy an index and they'll do that for you. They'll just spread it equally or whatever they want to do. So that actually long term is also good because for big investors, because indices are actually the most common investment vehicle. So that's long term. This is a good thing. So this is also makes it easier for bigger investors to come in, and for those who are kind of new to crypto and are not really that interested in the technology, just want to add to their portfolio. Things like that are definitely beneficial. But of course, this takes time. I don't expect just big players to. It's like you have a new. Because I studied civil engineering, so I remember that this professor said once, okay, in construction, everything comes with a delay. Let's say that you have a new steel out there on the market, and it's promising a lot. This steel is light, it's durable, it's all those great things, but are you gonna build 300-meter bridge straight away with this new steel? Or probably not, right? Probably you need some time, and you need to test. You need to see like smaller projects to come in, and smaller bridges or whatever. And when you see that, like after years and years and years, those stand, then maybe you'll consider going bigger scale, right? So all these things take time, right? And also this is why, okay, if we look Bitcoin dominance, right? There's so many new projects out there, which is exciting, like blockchain technology really inspired so many people, like curiosity, entrepreneurship, all that things, which is great. But of course, some people say, okay, Bitcoin will go away because it's too slow and all that. But Bitcoin has proven itself like for 10 years almost now, right? Nobody has ever hacked him. And for instance, let's say that you have like this new coin. Let's just call it new coin. I don't want to be specific on any coin, but they come out and they're promising all these great things. Oh, we are the fastest coin. We are this and that. Well, of course, you're not gonna use it for big amounts straight away. It needs to prove itself through the time, right? It needs to stand the test of time. So it's great that all these projects are coming in, but I don't see Bitcoin just going away because it's just so robust. It has proven itself so many times. It's been attacked from all, from all different sources, like from regulators, from hackers, from all that, and it's still there, and as I already pointed out in the other video, Andreas Antonopoulos, this Greek guy who's just, an important figure in Bitcoin, said in his book, The Internet of Money, the only thing that Bitcoin has to do is survive, and it's doing this pretty damn good, because all these things, of course, they are affecting the price, but long term it's good. It's more and more stable. Like Google at the start, it was crashing, right? You could have a crash for like a few minutes, half 1 hour, or even a few days. But then it was attacked, and then it became more robust. So Bitcoin is robust. All these new coins, great. But if I'm a billionaire and there's this new coin, I won't just use it straight away. It needs to be consistent over time, right? So I think that makes sense. So yeah, that was that. Yeah, I have a lot to cover today. And then, okay, there was this news that this empty Gox trustee sold 400 million, and there was a speculation that actually this caused the drop, which I think is just silly, because there's 400 million. That's a lot of, obviously, that's a lot of cash, but compared to the whole market, and he didn't just sell all of it at once. He sold it over the period of time in last, I don't know, 3 months or so. Yeah, I think it was said in the other article, but so yeah, he was saying that I don't think this is, this is just a whale. Basically, he's a trustee. Mount Gox, that was a different story. If you want to look in that, it was the biggest hack at that time. It was the main exchange that was hacked. It was the 70% of whole market. It was hacked, and so, but they kept some of the bitcoins, and now they're selling them basically to repay the customers and so forth. But I think this is just misconception. This is my point of view, because this can't drop the price for like whatever. What was it, from 20,000 to 6,000? It's just, it's not enough. So yeah, there was that. Okay, there was more debate. There was some about this guy and trustee. I mean, did they do this right or not? Empty Gox. Some people say that he sold on dump at the lowest price, which was not good, and so on and so forth. But yeah, nothing too interesting there. Yeah. So okay, and the other thing is, so Bitcoin still has its difficulties, right? So it can still do, I think it's like between 5 and 7 transactions per something like this. So scalability, right? It's still not fast enough, and there was an argument that the fees are too high. Although I was reading that since the SegWit is starting to get adopted, and it was adopted also by Binance and Bitfinex, which actually caused the fees to go down, which is like, things like this have to happen for people to gain trust. So technology has to make new progress, right? Because with all these bubbles, it's always the same thing. Basically, what happens is you have a promising technology, but the technology can't keep track, right? So there was nothing like resolved major here. This was just like people wanted, basically get rich, but we need technical improvements, and SegWit is definitely a way forward, right? And Lightning and all of that. and we need to see that implemented. It is actually great that SegWit is already helping to reduce fees. So you have this internet site where you have fees, right? And you can actually see that fees from the top, when they were $55 per Bitcoin, they fell down to all the way down to 1.5, which, okay, it's of course because there's less demand for Bitcoins, there's more volume, but the main the big reason is also because of this SegWit adoption by exchanges, right? So these are all things that are pushing technology further and lowering the price, which is really, really good, because this was a big issue, because people were starting to like, oh right, Bitcoin was promising like low fees, like banks, it wants to replace banks that are charging you, like credit union and all those. But the fees were so high. So that's amazing that we see this, transaction fee drop. Yeah, so this needs to happen, and then if Lightning Network is adopted, that will be another thing that would kind of increase the speed and all that. So we need to see these improvements for us to push the market higher. So regulation needs to be sorted. So the transactions, the speed needs to be improved. The fees are falling, so that's a good thing, right? So we need more of that. The arrival of SegWit, yeah, so that's it. SegWit has arrived. Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, so okay, we covered quite a lot of material, so let's just take a quick look at the chart just to summarize everything. And maybe, yeah, Wall Street cheat sheet, here you go. I actually posted this just 5 hours before we had a bubble burst all the way up here when we were still at 13,000, and then just 5 hours after that. So yeah, like I think we are in this situation. It's we can ignore it, or we say, okay, it's not what's happening, but this is definitely not a correction. This looks like a bubble. Probably we are in denial or whatever the stage. But the important thing is we need to see fundamentally all these things coming in, and it's gonna take time. You have traders there that are anticipating, oh, it's gonna jump up here and go to the moon, still, like, because they're used to these bounces, right? And I think this is a different ball game. I think we're better off going back. Keep on referring to 2013. Because when we had this big crash, you see how much time Bitcoin needed to go, to start pushing higher. So, or if you look at .com bubble, or all of those examples, right, that are out there. So NASDAQ bubble in around 2000, 2001. So yeah, we definitely need time. After all this, I don't see us bouncing to the upwards anytime sooner. I see us more like, going sideways, or, while going lower, basically doing that, right? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really educational for me here, because I did all this research, and usually I'm just looking at these charts and charts and charts. But it was really beneficial for me, so I think I've learned the most here, but I hope you learned something here as well. So please, if you like this video, please share, like, and subscribe, and I wish you all the best.